Good.
No.
At first, we started, of course, with the sales methodology. We choose this figure as the main figure in the document. Our invention was about a light bulb, more to say a street light pole. And our invention is about figure 1C. To explain figure 1C, I start with figure 1.8, which is prior art. It's a dump light bulb, so to say. It only has a lightning sensor in it, where the light bulb starts when it's dark. Also prior art is B, a connected light bulb, so to say, light pole at the street, where the system is connected to a main central server system, which can implement an intelligent connection for to start the light bulb when it's dark during a storm or like that, or if the time is right or something like that, and to keep them updated. And now we have our invention, which is C. It's actually a smart light bulb, which you can implement into or integrate into the existing system, where you just have a plug and play and a wireless remote access. So even if there is an existing system like a dump light bulb or a connected light bulb, when you connect the smart light bulb, this is just a plug and play. You just have to have access to the power or energy network, and it's connected via wireless LAN or via a smartphone or something like that to the intelligent system. So we had a discussion which kind or which of the component it would fit in. Through democracy, we decided that it's mostly integration into an existing system. So in our opinion, it was the component of integration here. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, I would say it could be seen as an integration aspect. So I integrate a smart light bulb, or I can say I introduce a new kind of linkage. For me, it's absolutely okay. Yeah, it can be seen in both ways. So next group, please. Thank you. Very good.
Hello, we are group 2. And when we started to talk about the sales system, we identified that the important item about using sales is that it can manage disruption. Because what we had from Mr. Clayton Christensen was that there is a theory of the innovator's dilemma, but there is no recipe how we can tackle it. And this sales methodology is basically a way how to treat disruption in the evolvement or a development of the company, because survival is really connected to be adaptive to changes. So basically what we see at the beginning, that the standards are really just like the major items of the IP is standardized, and there are new performances, but not huge changes. At the case of architectures, we have already new elements and arrangement, which are possibly connecting to the original inventions. And at the time of integration, we combine and separate these inventions. And at the time of the linkages, we concentrate on the functional connection between the subsystem and the megasystem. And at the time of the substitution, we are concentrating on threats of new entrants, like new use cases, competitors, new applications. So basically what we see is that the product or process life cycle is accompanied by the different stages of the sales, and that one stage is built on the second stage. So there is no linkages without a good integration. There is no good integration without good architectures, because basically what we have to concentrate on is that the patterns are the basic elements like Lego bricks, and their connections should be then focused on in later phases. So when we were looking at the patent descriptions, then we were trying to identify what stage we are, at what kind of stage within the sales we are. And now I hand it on to Merve.
So when we were trying to determine what kind of a sales contributor this patent was, we have checked the description of this patent application, and we have seen that in various embodiments, there is a mobile computing device which receives input that is indicative of a desired lighting property adjustment. And also, we have seen that the mobile computing device may generate transmission, and there can be instruction configured to cause at least some of the one or more contributing LED-based lighting units. So depending on this information given in the description and by taking into account the figures, we have come to a conclusion, but this will be presented by my colleague, Nora.
Okay, so looking a bit deeper into the application and the figures, and also taking a step back maybe to look at what is the customer benefits in this scenario for Signify. If we want to simplify it, I mean, we saw that there are more or less 3 steps. So the one step is that you have a detection of light, then you transmit instructions, and then you detect light and transmit new instructions. So going back to the sales components, we agreed that it should be a linkage that fits the best. We also had some discussion about integration, but I think the components are still separate and already existing. So linkage is the most natural conclusion in this case, and that Signify trying to protect with this patent. Nora, could you please give us the sum up?
As a summary, you can say there's figure 1, which describes the change of lighting, the change of the mobile computing device, which now works together for the consumer to have this possibility of lighting control via mobile computing device. So you have got the indicator of changes in part B, as I said, in the sale approach, and in part 1, nevertheless. So as a conclusion, we come to the end that this patent belongs to the part of the linkage.
And just to wrap up, we believe we understand the importance of the sales methodology because it provides a bit of a broader understanding of what a specific innovation is about. And it creates or it facilitates via a framework to ask questions on the business model, also to link it to the customer journey, and also facilitates from a business perspective what is critical to be exclusified from the IP strategy. That's our presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, group 3.
So yeah, we had Peter, Ricardo, Veronique, Terita, and myself in the group. And our task was to analyze how this LED product patent actually fits into the sales analysis. And we did that based on a reading of claim 1 of the LED patent. So you basically have the lighting elements, which are the LEDs. You have a memory to store the lighting programs. You have a processor. And the main element is the controller through which a user is able to choose and modify the lighting program. So we tried to figure out how this pattern would fit into the sales methodology. So our interpretation is that it really isn't creating a new standard, because the performance of light, either using the old system or this Signify LED system, will be the same. So there's definitely not any new standard creation. We definitely believe that it does create a new architecture, because instead of the traditional way where you would need to have different bulbs emitting lights of different wavelengths, you have one bulb which is able to be controlled by a user to emit light of different wavelengths. And so yeah, because of that controller element, there's like a new element, and it fits into the new elemental architecture argument. There's also an element of lateral integration, because as I mentioned, apart from the LEDs and stuff, we are integrating a new controller, which allows the user to control the lighting program. I mean, based on the reading of claim 1, we don't think there's any indication of a linkage, and neither that of a substitution. Like, although this is a new product, the light as a service, there's no substitution of like individual elements. We're still using the same lighting elements, etc. But it's only the architecture that's sort of changed. So yeah, if we had to pick one, we would go with architecture, but we also feel that there's a lateral integration feature. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would also say that the overall architecture and the way how the components work together is changing here. Yeah, wonderful. Group 4, please.
What we worked on basically, we also found that from the materials that in the sales methodology, we identified this to be most important to look the patent which we were discussing through this lens, through these 5 components. So we tried to see which one would fit best, let's say would describe best the patent which was at hand. So basically then we looked into the patent itself, and this patent so just to give a short overview, it's about the lighting system, lighting enabled system, and the methods for building evacuation planning, or more in simple terms, it's about we found out that the objective of the patent, so it's a system of providing an emergency evacuation system. So its objective was to reduce the dependencies on expensive and time-consuming mock drills, which of course can cause inconvenience. And it was looked, so the approach was how to integrate different technologies into this to solve this kind of a problem. And so what we found is that between what's claimed is that there was first the luminaries which were added to the system, but you could say that those are more or less something which is known already. So luminaries and sensors that can be installed throughout the locations in the buildings. But what's also we found and kind of telling is that on top of these luminaries, there are systems and sensors which communicate with one another, and to communicate between them to form a network. And also a processor which is configured to receive an occupation plan within the building. So basically this would be the system which would be able to understand the occupancy of the persons of people within that building, and accordingly coordinate the occupants' movements between those parts using those sensor data, and also use the models then which were then preset, which could be used then in the best way to optimize and to perform a most efficient evacuation. So this is the backdrop of the technology of the innovation, which was planned and which is put in place by the actual. So the overlap of the invention and the innovation itself. And we found, and then we looked how could we when we juxtapose it to the sales methodology to see what could be fit best. Then we saw that, or thought that, due to the fact that these different kind of technologies integrated within the solution of that problem, this is why we thought that the integration aspects here would prevail. However, there was also some hints that with this that the same way how this could be thought as an integrative aspect of this, and also that it might be considered that a linking element was also present, because the elements of which was already present like before, like the luminary elements, would be also changed in a different way, so that they could be also looked at as a linkage also approach. But basically, we consider this as an option also, so there is also possibility there. But we thought that this is something that had to do with most of it had to do with the integration itself. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean this digital use cases, and I mean this is a direct digital use case patent or patent application. They have always some linkages and some integrations in it. I would say that in this case, it is the substitution of a classical evacuation system. So what you do is you use the lights in a different way. Yeah, so you substitute, so to speak, the plans which are typically there, or some trainings or whatever. But it's okay. Yes, it has integration aspects in it. Yes, it has linkage aspects in it. You even could say it is an overall new architecture, how to create an evacuation plan, or how you implement an evacuation plan, because this is not the planning, this is the execution of an evacuation and how to do it. But okay, I mean, it's fascinating what Signify is doing here. And yes, we have aspects of integration, linkage, and I would say also substitution of existing solutions. Good. So then, please, group 5.
So we are continuing our journey with amazing patents from Signify. Our patent was dealing with a lighting device having status indication by modular light. Here you find the most important claims of the in total 14 claims. The system comprises of a lighting device that in itself records operating hours, and a monitoring device that checks, being external to the lighting device, that checks the quality of the emitted light from the lighting device. And both of them are put into a lighting system, as you can see here in Claim 7, of corresponding information that helps the operator of this system to have a more efficient maintenance of the lighting system installed. In our view, that very much relates to the sales category of integration, where multiple constituent elements are put together to form a new subsystem. We believe there are 3 constituent elements here. First of all, the lighting device, which is an existing device, a source of light that also records its own operating hours. Secondly, the second constituent element is the monitoring device that in itself already existed in a different context, but is now put here together within the lighting device, consisting of a light sensor and a processor to process the information the sensor creates. And the third element is the interaction, the communication between the lighting device and the monitoring device as a system of lighting. So for us, it's purely integration.